Hello.
And welcome back from Rhinebeck weekend.
Exactly, to a special episode all about Rhinebeck. Amanda's wearing her Sunday Rhinebeck outfit.
Yay.
I'm wearing what I might have worn on Sunday if I had gone on Sunday.
Your Rhinebeck-inspired outfit.
Yeah.
And we're two of the three ladies from the Chronicles of Yarnia. Welcome to our show. This is a little bit of a different episode. My name's Amanda.
I'm Kathleen.
And
we usually have Jen in between us, but
Right.
she was not able to join us at Rhinebeck this weekend, so
we're here to give you all the details of what we saw and the things that were there and the friends that we met and all the things
all
we
the
bought.
happenings.
all the stuff we brought home.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
So it was a super fun weekend.
It was really good. The first 2 days were so wet, though.
They were very rainy. Yeah.
Really just...
When I was packing, I was like, I actually totally changed my Saturday outfit.
Mm-hmm, yes.
To match my snow boots.
and it did. It was quite beautiful.
And then as it turned out, it was colder than I thought, and I texted Kathleen on Friday night, and I was like, please bring a warmer sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I did the crazy thing of going up Friday for one event and coming home and then going up Saturday with a friend.
You did the OG Nitty Natty.
I did. Exactly. Well, hers was on the train, which was even more.
Yeah. That's, that was...
Yeah, I remember watching her videos that year and being like, oh, Natalie, don't do that. That's so hard. It's so much travel. At least I was, riding with people and going straight to the events I was going with.
Yeah.
And literally, I hadn't even planned to go on Saturday. I've gone a lot, and I do love it, but I don't know, just like I wasn't thinking I would do it this year. And then one of my local friends texted me like 3 weeks in advance, a while in advance, was like, so I'm thinking about going up for the day on Saturday. What do you think? And I'm like, yes! Just, if I've got a way to get there, and why not? Why not? So
definitely.
It was worth doing.
I hadn't been since 2018.
Wow, yeah.
When Teddy was not Teddy.
Charlie, right?
Didn't exist.
Yeah.
Charlie was 4 months old. I had him in a baby carrier. I'll put a picture in here because I was like, I think that was the second year Yarnia was open.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty early on in our time.
So it was definitely before this channel.
Mm-hmm. Before the channel, before this location.
Yeah. And I went with Lily and Charlie, but that was, and then I guess I did Untangled that year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But definitely was a very different experience this year, where last year during Rhinebeck, I got bad FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was sitting at my dining room table while everybody else was posting their pictures and showing everything. I'm like, you know what? So while everybody else was at Rhinebeck last year, I Googled, when is Rhinebeck 2023? Mm-hmm. Found the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And
found a place to be.
Booked a place from Thursday evening through Sunday.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going the whole weekend next year.
That's the way to do it. That is definitely the way to do it. Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I was one of those lucky people who went and really was there for, most of it last year. So I did a lot of fun stuff last year. So yeah, it can be such a good time. Mainly the thing for me is seeing all the people.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's why on Saturday when I went, like, I didn't even go to any barns until about 3:00.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get there till a little before 12, but still, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yes, we will get to that.
Let's start off chronologically, because I ended up going to 5 events over the weekend, so I'm going to tell you all about them. There was a lot going on. Mm-hmm. I tried to hit as much as I could just so that we could share it with you guys.
Yeah.
And so, let's hop in.
So the very first event was Untangled. And Amanda had gotten 3 tickets.
I told you, FOMO.
Yep. when they first went on sale. And it turned out that the 2 folks that she originally was going to go with weren't able to go for various reasons. And so she asked me if I would like one of the tickets, and I said, yes, please.
Yeah.
And then we offered one to one of our podcast watchers. And we put it on Instagram too and everything. And it turned out to be, a friend of the store, someone who shopped with us for a while.
Yep.
Carol. And we had a great time with Carol, shopping and having lunch with her and a friend of hers. And that worked out really nicely.
But the day started for you guys with a downpour.
Oh, boy.
Getting up to... it was in
Saugerties.
Yeah. Which is about 30 minutes north of Rhinebeck.
Yeah, it actually is. It's but it's on the side of the Hudson of the New York Thruway. So, so as you know, Amanda was already there. My husband Gene is so sweet. He was like, "Sure, I'll drive you, no problem," because I can't drive on the highway for long distances. I have a vision problem that just really makes that very unnerving, so I don't do it anymore. And yeah, so he knows Saugerties before. He did all the events with me last year.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, sure, Saugerties fine. I'll find things to do. Little did we know it was going to be just torrentially raining most of the time.
Super rain.
Yeah, which affects other things, as you'll hear later, and probably have already heard, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, our first hour on the road up was almost zero visibility part of the time.
That's so scary.
It was
I hate
really,
driving in that. I'm so glad.
It was, and of course we had a deadline to get there by.
Yes.
Like we knew we had to be there before the doors opened at 10:30 because we had to have the tickets.
10 o'clock.
Oh, 10 o'clock. That's right. Yeah. That's right. We were
11:30.
originally going to meet at 9:30, and and I'm looking at it on my phone, arrival time, 9:35, 9:40, 9:50.
Yeah.
So.
But everything worked out. I was actually...
It did work out, yep.
So Carol and I had gotten in line at about 9:50-ish, 9:45-ish.
Uh-huh.
And made our way up, slowly to the front of the line because they were handing out like the bags and you got your wristbands and things like that. And as I think we were like 3 people from the front of the line, and I
finally.
But I look out and I just see Gene, and he says. So yeah, I knew Kathleen was here, and then I got my phone rang.
And then I spotted you in your nice aqua slicker, right?
Yes, with the lime green, like neon green on the inside. That was a good pandemic. So
I definitely need to get a new slicker / rain jacket / whatever, because I didn't worry about staying too dry that day because I was going home from there. I wasn't staying. I wasn't going on to any other events that day, but yeah, a lot of people were properly dressed. I was really not.
Yeah, it was, so Indy was in 2 barns. It was their 10th anniversary. Congratulations, Indy.
Yeah, that is so amazing. 10 years.
Yeah. They had some really cute displays of, all with balloons of, celebrating their 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
And then the show was split up over 2 long barns.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, so you've got a roof over you, but open on the sides.
Right.
So.
And it's on like is it a racetrack there?
Or it's like an equestrian facility. I don't know. They have a big ring for
dressage and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but the barns are sort of like on either side of one of the dressage rings. Mm-hmm. So, so there were quite. I don't know how many vendors there were there.
I think about 30. I think they're probably...
In each one?
No, like 20 in one and about 10 or 12 in another.
Huh.
I think so. I don't know if I count them. Do we have we have a program from that, right?
Do we?
Do we? Oh, no. I think I screenshotted the map on my phone. That's what it was.
I didn't take a map.
Yeah. No, I didn't get a paper map there, but yeah.
Yep.
We can probably put that in maybe. I can find my screenshot if I have it.
Yeah.
Still.
Let's see. Mitchell Wool had a big booth.
They did.
Let's see. Who else was there? The
Ruby and Roses.
Yep.
We talked to her. She's Addie's super sweet. She's so tall. She's really. it's so funny because I've seen her in Nitty Nitty's videos and things, and she just didn't strike me as being that tall. And when I was talking to her, I was like really looking up. I'm not short. I mean, I'm like 5'6", kind of average. Anyway.
And then something in Hellhounds.
Plies
and Hellhounds.
Yep. One I know because I got and you got from them too, right?
No, I got something from somebody else.
Oh, I thought you got something from Geektastic Fibers.
I'll show you what I got.
So Geektastic Fibers were super sweet, and they have self-striping colors that are so cool. And boy, does this not go with what I'm wearing already? It's totally my palette.
Yeah.
And this one is just called Shiny. So I don't know what series or what character this relates to, but I love the color and I went with it. So we'll see. I may actually wind up making socks.
Yeah, these are self-striping, a true self-striping.
Yeah, it's a true self-striping.
I was quite tempted by some of.
So on socks, it'll probably be 4 or 5 rows per color. And who knows? I might actually just do a hitchhiker. I want to do a hitchhiker much shorter. I realized we've been doing a sample sale here, and one of the things I realized as I was trying on some of the things I've made, I don't like long, shallow shawls.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't wear them. I never, ever wear them, so there are a few here for sale.
Yeah.
In store only. But, so I have a hitchhiker that I love the colors and everything, but it is so wide and shallow, and I'm just going to just do different proportions.
That makes sense.
Instead of doing, it's increases of 5, maybe I'll do 7s, and that'll make it taller before it gets so wide. before I ran out of yarn. So,
yeah.
What did you find at
right.
Indie?
So I found also, we were in the geeky vibe at Indie.
Totally.
So I went to Crafty Gamer Geek.
Okay.
And so similar geeky vibe, but they had a lot of colorways dyed to match games, and I asked the dyer and the owner, I said, do you have any Genshin Impact colors? Because that is my oldest daughter Beth's current obsession. Obsession. I have knit so much to Genshin Impact recently, and it's like sort of my vibe of a game as well. It's very like, if you like Legend of Zelda and those open world games that aren't, that have things to do other than, aren't super violent. It's a great game and it has awesome storylines. But he had skeins dyed to match several of the characters. I got the introvert scribe, who is Alhaitham, and the one and Oni, who is Ito Oni. So I'm going to make socks for Beth with these. And we had a chat about maybe doing a game night here at Yarnia.
That would be so fun.
A gamers night. So yeah, with Crafter Gamer Geek. So that was my purchase at Indie. It's like definitely one of those places where I went in not expecting to get things and came out with two skeins of yarn. Yeah, for sure.
And you guys can imagine, as yarn store owners, we do go somewhat with a different eye. We're looking like, who might we want to partner with on a trunk show and things like that.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely, and we're there just to like scope out our trends and everything too.
The trends, yep.
But yeah, we get tempted to and fall in with some of those things. So that's great. It's really good supporting other, small makers and small businesses.
Yep. We all start small at some point.
Exactly. My head's like sliding back on my head.
So let's see. So we did Indie.
And then we had lunch.
Yep, and those tickets at Indie are hour and a half time tickets. So
which is so smart.
Yeah, it was never overwhelming. It's not too crowded, but it's just crowded enough, right? Like the vendors also know how many people to expect each session.
Exactly. And they didn't always do it that way. I mean, they kind of grew to that because and I don't even know what year it was.
Like 2016 or 2016, I think, was a little bit overwhelming. Yeah.
And also, they've like changed their venue as they've grown. So at one point, it was in like a couple of conference rooms in a hotel, and then it was like in the ballroom of the hotel. I think that was when you went, right?
Yeah.
And then for a couple of years, they had it at like a community center in Saugerties, and that was when I had gone before, and I actually loved that. There weren't as many vendors, but I liked the fact that it was all indoors and that there was good lighting. I would say that was one of the challenges this year.
Yep.
With the setup, the vendors were on the outside and the people were all in the middle. And the lighting, like unless vendors brought their own lighting, the lighting was a little challenging.
Yeah, there were some vendors that you could tell had vended in, I'd say, like conference arenas or whatever, and they had their own spotlights, which was really helpful. And I do think too, it was so cloudy and overcast, like
and pouring on and off while we were there too.
So any ambient light that would have seeped in,
there wasn't any.
Mr. Sun did not show his face.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, one other thing. While we were there, we met up with Seisha.
Yes.
Who, works with us, and Kim who was there with a group of her knitting friends. They're so cute.
Yep.
And Amanda's got some pictures of them.
Yep. So we had the Yarnia crew picture there, and then we had a picture of Kim and her crew, and they had such a fun tradition. They had, from the year before, had purchased all the same yarn, and each one got one skein of the same color, and they all knitted hats that matched. And then
they were so cute.
They all picked out a sweater, which was a cozy boucle sweater, and they all were wearing the same sweater together. It was very cute,
and it was fun because their hats matched, but their sweaters were different colors, the same style. So it was really sweet. It was great. Yeah.
Yes, I was fangirling over that group.
Totally.
They were cool.
and funnily enough, we went to the restaurant that we had decided to go to have lunch, and who was there but Kim and her crew?
That's right.
And we were among the first people in line, so it was nice. We actually went up sitting at adjacent tables and everything.
Yeah, we went to Lucy's Lucy's something kitchen maybe, but I have video of that here.
Mm-hmm.
The food there, have to say, that was in Saugerties, like in the little downtown area where there are a lot of restaurants.
I forget, it's Partition Street, I think it's on.
Yeah,
something like it's one of the main streets.
The food was so good.
It was so good.
Carol's friend, we were, when you have to go and recognize that everybody's getting out of Untangled at the same time. All the knitters are descending in the middle of town.
Well, also, the other thing that's kind of funny is that they didn't open till noon. They don't take reservations.
Right.
They didn't open till noon. So we were there probably 11:45, I would say. We were there, like, waiting for them to open. And we, our group and Kim's group were, like, the first two groups by the door. And they opened, and they literally opened at about 12:01. Like, they did not open early.
And then by 12:03, the whole restaurant was full.
It was
there was a line.
Every seat was taken. Yeah, it was a little crazy. But the food was delicious. It was worth the wait. And we just, kind of went with it. And we were glad we did. The food was excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what did I have?
I had a steak. You had the chips, fish and chips.
Oh, the fish and chips.
And I had
the fish was so good.
A brisket sandwich that was delicious. Brisket sandwich with a side salad. And Carol had that as well, same as me. And then her friend had the mussels that were delicious. She said she really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
So
totally worth it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But if you're gonna do it on Rhinebeck on Indie Day, like when you're there with other people in Saugerties,
budget an extra hour.
Yeah, and just plan to be there when it opens and
take your Pokemon Go, spin some Pokestops. It's cool.
Yeah, or bring your knitting. Bring your knitting. I did get a few rows in on my hat that I was working on. So
yeah. So after that, actually, I basically paid and dashed while you guys finished up.
Yeah.
Because I had
2 more events that day.
2 more events, right. And in order to fit them all in, I wanted to make sure that I left Saugerties
really
in
on
time.
a schedule, exactly.
Yeah. So the next event I went to was Woolen Folk, but first I had to go to the train station in Hudson, which is just across the river from what's the name of that? It was in Catskill, yay. So I had to go up to the Hudson train station, which is like a 10-12 minute drive, and then back
and that's on the other side of the river.
On the other side of the river.
Yeah.
And then back into Catskill. The event planners had put together locations where you could park and shuttles that were running to those locations. I was on the way to one of the parking locations and missed the left turn, so then I had to loop around. As I was looping around, I found a street parking spot.
Oh,
so
wow.
we just stayed there.
And you were pretty close to the site at that point.
We were like a fifth of a mile.
Oh, wow.
From the spot.
Wow.
No, we got
super lucky.
We got super lucky.
Super lucky because you probably have heard there were definitely a lot of challenges at Woolen Folk this year, sadly.
Yes. So
parking was one of them.
Just to frame my experience.
Yeah.
We arrived at like 2:30 and we needed to leave by 4. So I was definitely on a tight time frame. I was there for, I had goals. Number 1 goal, to get you some footage.
There you go.
Which you'll be seeing here. Number 2 goal was I was wearing on Friday my autumn court sweater.
Right, that's right, which you've seen Amanda working on for a while now. Right?
I was wearing my newly finished autumn court sweater, and I was super excited to meet Tristan, as well as her mom Christy and her sister Alaska, who were vending with their yarn brands Dragon Horde Yarns and Yarn Cafe Creations and Sinful Yarns.
Oh, I didn't realize that she had her own brand too.
Alaska has her own brand, yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought she was just helping them. I didn't know.
Yeah, so they had their booths, all were at Woolen Folk. So that was my...
And were they all together?
They were all together. Yeah, it was nice. So that was my goal, right? Like, if I did those 2 things...
Well, because Tristan designed the sweater.
Yes, Tristan designed my
design. Yeah.
I've been living with Tristan's sweater for months. So anyway... So those are my 2 goals. So, depending on, what your expectations are, when you arrived and like what your goals were, I think experiences were drastically different.
And also by the time Amanda was there, because I left, my husband picked me up at the restaurant and we headed back home because the dog was waiting for someone to let her out, basically. Yes. So we got out of there pretty fast. And by then, actually, the rain had, for us, as we were heading south, had subsided. Right. It wasn't so bad.
Yeah, we didn't even take our raincoats. So.
But I was already seeing, customers of ours, people we follow on Instagram as attendees saying, oh boy, this is not good. I'm waiting 45 minutes to get in.
Oh, yes.
And but by the time Amanda got there, it was well after the opening time, which was noon. So
and there was no line to get in. We actually had to ask people are we supposed to show you our ticket?
Wow.
So which we did, and got our wristbands and all that kind of thing.
And I think also by then, though, some people who'd been there really early, because it was so crowded then, had left.
Which is probably why we got street parking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mile away.
But that's also why, it wasn't as crowded as an attendee for you then. Because I spoke to so many people on Saturday that said, I've never felt claustrophobic before, and I did there, and things like that. So it really had to do with when you arrived and everything that part of your experience.
Yeah. But so we, like I said, part of my goal is to see all there is to see and get some great footage. I did find some new vendors. There's a couple that I'm showing here that I really enjoyed, new ideas. That's what I'm always looking for, is what's new, what have I never seen before, or what is trending. So those are the kind of things.
And what can we potentially add to what we have that, what complements what we've already got.
And that's the fun thing about going to these festivals too, is that a lot of them are local makers, right? Which means they're in our Yarnia backyard. I also got to see Austin from Knit the Rainbow. He was there with a booth in the Podcaster Lounge studio, which was a covered tent outside. We walked through there. There, the mud was quite deep. Again, very grateful I wore boots.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my black boots yesterday, but there's a rim of
I believe
mud
it.
around.
Yeah. I still need to clean mine from that day.
Yeah. So the outside booths were definitely quite muddy. And then I guess as you were going in, there was a entrance in the center with a courtyard, and then there was a building on the right and a building on the left. We went in the building on the right first, and that's also where, is it Le Garçon? Was in that building, and it was a sort of a cool setup because they were inside a bar, right? The bar area, so they were serving people.
That's so
from
fun.
Their yarn was down below, and they would pull orders. So that was, it was a cool setup, but their room, even when we got there, was packed. I know there were vendors on the what do you call that, balcony up above them. I could see their signs. I wanted to get up there to get footage for you guys, but we pretty much stood in that room maybe 4 feet in for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm we're gonna get out here. So that was the only location when I was there that was ultra crammed, and we just like I said, I didn't have a specific agenda that I needed to see that or was looking to buy, so we just went places that were less crowded. And then, fortunately, Christy and Tristan and Alaska were on the other side, and that's where I made my first Woolly Bulk purchase, which was a skein of Alaska's yarn.
Nice.
Yay. Chad was experiencing a bit of a hangover that day because he had been out with. That's why he was coming up on the train.
That's right.
He had hung out with one of his friends in Philly the night before, so we thought the name of this colorway is "Can't Adult Today." Yeah, so we thought that "Can't Adult Today" was really apt to how we sort of felt.
Her label.
Right.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I did see her post.
It's super cute. So I think this is a DK. I think.
Is it? Oh wow.
I think, yeah, it's DK.
Oh yeah, I don't have my glasses on today. I usually always have my glasses. I don't know. I'm not making notes today. So.
But there's pops of magenta in here, and I think I'm going to, Jen's hats that have the double-sided where she does the contrast color in the brim. I think I'm gonna get a magenta and do that.
Nice.
With this for Abby.
We have a perfect knitted width that would work with that.
Yay! So
we do.
That will be a project upcoming. Abby's getting a new hat.
Nice.
Called "Can't Adult Today." She's 11, so that's
she's allowed to not adult today. Yeah.
I have high expectations for her. She would be like, Mom wants me to. Yeah, and so it was fantastic meeting all of the ladies, and I got to speak with Tristan for quite a bit. And
she
then,
loved your sweater, right?
Yes.
It's very good. And the thing I loved, the picture that I saw, her hair color matched one of your colors pretty well.
I know.
Because she does different wigs for different things.
Yes.
So when I met her last year, she had a beautiful silver wig on.
Ooh.
Like silver gray. It was so pretty. It's like, maybe I will go gray.
Yeah. If you could look like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we had a great chat, and then she sent us up to the 5th floor where there were even more vendors. I got a little a video up there, and I also made my second woolen folk purchase, which was this.
Oh, love that.
Right.
Oh my god.
It's a little bag by Cottontail Farm, and they took Scottish wool, Harrisville tweed, and then put that on a little project bag. So they had several sizes. I asked y'all, do you wholesale? Can we partner? She's like, we don't wholesale these. So if you really love the Harrisville tweed, this is a more, I'd say, traditional, right?
Yeah, tartan kind of.
Tartan design. They also had some that were like with blues and pinks and purples that were really pretty.
Wow, so pretty.
So check out their website. That's Cottontail Farm. If you love these traditional, wool tartan as much as I do. So they were up on the 5th floor. Yeah, and then it was basically 4 o'clock. Like we had to dash.
Yeah.
Because we had to drive back down to Saugerties. Which, don't worry, it sounds like we're doing a lot of back and forth, but Saugerties was actually directly on the way back to Kingston, which is where our house was. Yeah. Did I miss something? No,
just, there's been a lot. I'm sure everybody who's watching this has probably seen a lot of the stuff on Instagram and on Reddit and everything. And, we really do feel for all the vendors who had a terrible experience at Woolen Folk. And, we were happy to see all the support that other makers are giving everyone. And, we also encourage you, if you can, if you try to buy from people at the event or just you want to support them, there are lists out there on people's Instagrams about who was really, people who've been affected. And actually, it's so sweet. I've even seen some businesses who were there posting and saying, I was there, I actually did okay, or I broke even, things like that. And it is such an amazing community that, people are willing to do that because it is their business. This is how they make their living. So, it was really unfortunate how badly things went. And,
so all of the makers that I've, highlighted, whether it was on video clips or, talked about their products, all of those are linked down below. And I know they would all appreciate support if you weren't able to make it in their rooms at Woolen Folk or, weren't able to get there at all, whether it was the accessibility issues, the, moving around and that type of thing, or the horrendous rain that plagued the whole weekend.
Yeah, really did. But
all right, so then we were driving again, and finally I didn't have to drive.
Yeah, you had a driver.
I had a driver. And we went back down to Saugerties to go to Cake-a-palooza.
Cake-a-palooza.
Yay!
Yes. Which actually, Jean and I passed, we made a little pit stop after we got off the highway on the way to Indy, and Jean's like, this looks familiar, and he made a left, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, it's Cake! And trying to wave to who we know this on the end and everything, but so Cake is so interesting. It actually is in the parking lot of Cake Wool Co.'s dive studio, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And I did go to that last year and just loved it. I mean, Shayla, Black Pearl Magic Ven's there. She's one of our absolute favorite makers on the planet.
Yes.
And she's always such a delight to spend time with.
Yep, she and Lamont were both there. I had the last timed ticket because that event also has timed tickets. You need to buy a ticket in advance for a specific time, and you have to show up during that time in order to get admittance. So just to try to organize my day, I got the last timed ticket for Cake, which was the 4 to 5:30. They closed at 5:30, and we arrived somewhere around 4:30.
I that happened to me last year too. We got stuck in really. Like when we left the house, we should have been there a half hour before it started, and by the time we got there, I got there like 20 minutes late. It actually wasn't a bad thing though, right? Not to be at the beginning of any time slot, because sometimes like at the beginning of a time slot, there's like 100 people in line easily, right? And they all mob the first few booths, and you can't get in anywhere. So getting there a tad late is not a bad thing.
And I think earlier in the day, well, obviously there had been a lot of rain.
There's just more, yeah.
And there had clearly been a lot of shopping going on because Shayla was sold out of all of her vinyl bags. There were a few of the OG canvas bags, like and the
Chachibas, yeah.
Yep, and she had made some in the size that's nitty natties, which wasn't a standard size, but she's like, everybody asks me for the nitty natty size.
She had dropped that one basically, and I have I don't have it with me. I have a really OG one that no, seriously, when she saw that I had that, maybe it was even last year when I saw her. It is teeny tiny, and I'm like Shayla, you should make these again, but making small things is a pain. Yes. It really is. It actually takes just as much time as making a bigger thing, if not more, and you can't sell it for as much. So there. That's why people don't always make really tiny things.
That's why you get bigger bags. Yes.
Yeah. Bigger bags, you switch more in, right? Yeah.
Certainly. You can fit both socks and your sweater project in.
There you go.
Yeah, and let's see. Also, I got to see Amy of Nikolai.
Yay, that's right. Yeah.
Which obviously we have been all things Nikolai
for the last couple of months.
Yep. So that was a ton of fun, and we had never met in person before.
No, I know. I haven't either. I mean, I've seen her at Vogue Knitting, but her booth is usually so packed, and so. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you got to meet her in person.
But she knew exactly who we were because I'm like, Amanda
they
from
Yarnia. A whole lot of yarn.
She's like, oh my goodness, Amanda from Yarnia. It's like, yes, we are frequent. We're shipping buddies.
Definitely.
Via the postal service. But yeah, and then Christina from Chelsea Fibers was there. Chelsea Yarns, yeah, she was there. I had a gorgeous booth, so many kits, which were such good ideas. Like, oh my goodness, they were gorgeous. And Yan from Beyond Yarn in Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
Or Forever Yarn.
Forever Yarn. Yes, Forever Yarn in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Was there with a big booth and a lot of lobby anime she had in her booth. So that was super fun. It was definitely the end of the day.
Everybody and they had to all be so tired. Yes. Yeah, because they've got to set up well before the first time slot. Yes. So and probably there for 10 hours by that point, or who knows.
Yeah. So it was a lot of talking and smiling and hugging and chatting, and not so much shopping anymore. Like so then that was Friday. That was Friday. Right, and then I guess we went back to Kingston and had dinner at a little Salvadorian bar.
I remember passing some when we were last year. We had dinner right by. I think we had dinner in Kingston. I don't know. I forget, but we had it right on the water, and it was really nice. But we did see a bunch of other options then too. Like after we did that on the way back to our hotel last year, we saw a bunch of options. Yeah. So.
One of my oldest daughter, Beth, one of her favorite snacks is a pupusa, which is like a corn tortilla, like stuffed with cheese. She's vegetarian, so she has the cheese ones, or it could be stuffed with meat or whatever. And so when I was scrolling through, I saw, a pupuseria. Let's go there. It was definitely the local hangout. Like as it got further into Friday night, the guys were coming off of work and having drinks at the bar.
Fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and very good, fresh, authentic food.
Cool.
So that's what we did, and then went home, and I think I posted things. I worked a little bit on Yarnia stuff on Friday night.
Yeah. We probably saw stuff in our stories.
Yep.
Yeah, we're working on that throughout the day. And actually, we did save it as a highlight too. So if you want to, I'm sure Amanda will put in, a lot of pictures here too, but we do have something saved on Instagram as well, which I actually love looking back through stuff like that. It's so fun. It's like a quick little way to do it. It's like the 2-minute view of the weekend. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Friday, that was the end of Friday. Go home, take a rest.
Mm-hmm.
And we were more than halfway done with our events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
So Saturday, we started out in Kingston and ended up sleeping late.
Yeah, because Friday was a lot. Friday was definitely, yep.
And then woke up and my partner's loves good coffee. So we were looking for a place with good coffee and found this donut shop, and I'm putting a video in here, of like A, fantastic coffee, B, fresh made apple cider donuts.
Oh, that's right, you were saying that, yeah.
Which, I know apple cider donuts are a thing at the New York Sheep and Wool,
Mm-hmm.
but let me tell you, these literally fresh made when you order them, with that sugar crunch on the top, straight out of, your appetite will be sated and you don't have to stand in the line.
There you go. There you go.
So that was my strategy on that. It was so good. And then we went on to New York Sheep and Wool. Got there about 11:30.
Mm-hmm. And as Amanda mentioned earlier, one thing I did Friday night was I grabbed Amanda's sweater that you're going to see her wearing on Saturday out of the store.
Thank goodness.
So she'd be warm enough. And I was texting with Kara, who I rode with January 1, one of the original knitting bloggers, who is a neighbor of ours and a friend of the store and friend of mine. And you were texting, that's who I had planned to drive with. And the night before, I was like, I almost hope she cancels. It was just so wet. It was so wet. And actually, the forecast for Saturday was getting worse by the hour. That was the other thing. It wasn't that I didn't want to go out because Friday was wet on Saturday. It was just the forecast for Saturday was just awful. And as much as I was indoors, or in covered areas, there's not that much covered at Rhinebeck.
No.
And actually the places that are covered tend to be very crowded anyway. So the thought of all these people being, indoors under the little bit of covering there was like, I don't even want to go. Yeah. But I was so glad we went. We did leave a little bit later. We wound up leaving at about 9:30 and again, it rained, most of the way up, so it was a little slower. It took us about 2 hours. And then we wound up on the bridge at the same time as Amanda and Chad. It was so funny.
Yeah, I literally texted.
She's like, I'm on the bridge. I'm like, we are too. You must be like 10 cars behind us or something, Yeah, crazy. So it was very crazy.
Yes. Oh, the parking at Rhinebeck, of course, is in the fairgrounds parking lot, which is...
Again, muddy.
grass fields, which had gotten muddy. And poor Vivian...
Yes, I heard. Yeah.
Had to get towed out. Her car got stuck and got towed out. Oh,
but she didn't get home till like 9:30 or something.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
To get the tow truck there and all that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that is something to consider if you're coming to Rhinebeck by car, to remember, and if it's a muddy or if it has been rainy that week, that you are on grass, and if possible, bring a car with all-wheel drive, because they're going to tell you where to park.
Exactly. You don't really have
you
a lot of
choice. You don't get a lot of options over where you end up going.
Yeah, for sure. And actually coming back to the car, Kara and I went up staying till the end, which I think the only other time I've done that is when I've stayed overnight.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't care, but it because we didn't get there till shortly before noon. It was fine. But one thing actually Kara gave me was these Dahlia cards that she's
beautiful.
doing. She is a photographer, one of her many vocations, and she also grows beautiful dahlias, so she's going to start selling these on her Instagram.
Oh, my, sorry, really I think... Ta-da! Now you can see. Wow, those are awesome.
They're really spectacular. Yeah. So these may not be up yet, but she's doing it soon. So we'll see if we can link to her Instagram if nothing else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's a good friend, and definitely, if you don't already follow her, go ahead and follow her. She talks about all kinds of things in addition to knitting.
And if you want to see her on Chronicles of Yarnia, you can check out
her temperature blanket videos.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say. She's one of the...
I'll link those down below.
One of the, big proponents of temperature blankets, and has made a number of amazing ones.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll link those down below if you're like, what am I going to... What's my big project next year? Go check out Kara's inspiration.
Yeah.
So another tip if you're going to Rhinebeck is pre-order your bags.
Yeah.
So I had pre-ordered my bags as well as a pin, which I don't know if it's in here actually. I mean, I know it's in here because I saw it briefly. But oh yeah, ta-da! I got a little pin from the year before.
Oh, fun. Yep.
If there's any swag left over from the prior year, they put it on sale for the next year.
And sometimes they have things from multiple years back. I've gotten, got t-shirts and things from like 3 years prior, because I'm one of those people who, like, I don't necessarily like things right away.
Yes.
And then like a year later, I'm like, I did like that design. And I was lucky to snag, a multi-year back t-shirt a couple of years ago, which was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the art for this year. It's a happy multicolored sheet. And but last year they had a pin with a collie on it who looks a lot like my Sheltie. So we'll see.
And actually this was like their main the little sheep flower thing.
Yes.
It kind of looks like a sunflower, but it's got a sheep head in it. That was like their main logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that. I pre-ordered these two. But when you get to the swag tent, is at the bottom of the hill. And
it's kind of at like I think of it as the midway. It's like the place where everything kind of connects there at Rhinebeck.
Yep. And the line is always long.
Always. Even if you pre-order.
But if you pre-order, you get to go to the milk barn.
That's right.
To pick up your thing.
Yes.
Which
I did do
there's
that.
no line. And you just go.
It's a lot faster. Yeah.
And you're like, Turcotte. And they give you your stuff.
Yeah.
Ta-da! So that's a tip. The swag is not on sale at the same time as the tickets, and they're from a different site. So you have to sort of pay attention to both.
And also, if you have a friend going, you can have your friend pick up, because I picked up the stuff last year.
That's how I got my bag last year.
I pre-ordered for me. She pre-ordered for her. I picked them all up. Have your friend's printed thing. I think it had to be printed. I think they wanted something that they could like put in their file or whatever. So.
Yep. So we got to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival just around noon, just shortly before noon.
But by the time we're actually like on the hill and in the Yeah.
And that's the first place we went, because we had told you guys that we would be on the hill just after noon on the benches at the back.
So we were.
So that's where we hung out. It was great. Amy from La Bien Aimée was there wrapping up one of her meet and greets. And then as we were there, just more friends.
We met a lot of friends of Yarnia.
Came by.
We saw, we then met up with a lot of podcasters who were coming through the area, and folks we know.
It's definitely the place to meet. And there's, the knitting world. It's to be popular in the knitting world is not like to be popular in the rock and roll world, right? Like, if you want to meet somebody and say hello, and I love love what you're putting out into the world, you can meet and talk to
anybody. Anybody, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. There definitely are some people who are very low key, and who, like, even though, there are a lot of their sweaters walking around and everything.
Yep.
Don't want to do meetups and are almost incognito. And it was funny, on the way home I said to Kara, I'm like, oh, I wish I'd met so and so. She's like, oh, I spent half hour with her, I wish I'd known. So I don't know, talk to your friends, you never know who knows who.
Yeah.
So and just partly, like, I've made a bunch of sweaters by certain people. It's like I'd like to say I love your work, I love your patterns, you did such a great job. So,
yeah, absolutely. And Chad was wearing Andrea Mowry's design.
That's right. Yeah.
His Gib 2 is one of Andrea's patterns. Of course, she was there with a lot of people who made tessellated.
Yep.
Both the vest and the sweater this year. But at the end of her meetup, I said, Andrea, can I take a picture of you with a Gib? And she's like, oh my goodness, of course. So yeah, I got a picture of those two.
Nice.
With the Gib as well. So here's a little montage of all of our fun time on the hill. way from the hill.
Exactly.
Which was...
Well,
yeah.
and as we did, like, we ran into even more, it's like, oh, we haven't seen Nitty Natty yet, and who did we see almost as soon as we got off the hill?
Yes.
Natalie. So that was nice. It was great to see her, chat with her a bit, and Kim and Jana, and I'm sure you've seen pictures, right? They were in the little montage.
Yep.
And then we kind of went our separate ways for a while, and I had some Brussels sprouts for lunch because then I really was hungry.
Get any of those, and I'm one of them.
They were really, really good.
Yeah.
And actually it was cute. One of Kim's tips, which since I went home, it was really easy for me to do this. She's like, PB&J, we always bring PB&J. That way if the lines are too long, you know, you've got something to eat. And actually, it's like, I haven't had PB&J in God knows how many years. So to bring that, it was delicious. I had that later. I had the Brussels sprouts, and then because I don't think I had any breakfast that day, and it literally was about 3:00 by the time I was eating my Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. Well, and Chad had gotten us a tea and a coffee.
We
Which
had a nice latte, which was great. That was powered me through the hill and all of that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then let's see, and then we went over to the animal barns. And took, because it's New York Sheep and Wool. There's sheep too.
There definitely are sheep.
And we took a lot of footage of animals. And Charles, who's one of Natalie's friends, sent me the video because before we got there, the alpaca parade happened.
I love that.
So,
yeah, that's so fun.
Here's a little video of alpaca parade as well as some animals.
after I did finally eat something, I finally did start going around some of the barns and looking at some of the merchandise. And actually, one nice thing, when we were on the hill, it did start to clear up. Like, we started the day...
We saw the sun.
We started the day with,
sun.
you know,
Mist
ponchos and, you know, hoods up and everything. And really, about, I don't know, less than an hour into being on the hill, I was down to just a sweater, which was so nice. It was really nice. So... Then when I was going around some of the barns looking at things, all of a sudden, though, again, the sky opened up. I was in Katrinkle's booth.
Oh.
And you could just hear that rain pouring again. So it was like, ah.
Yeah.
But the one thing I wound up buying is I went to and Kara wanted help picking. This was the very end. We really did close it down. So she said she wanted to get something from Neighborhood Fiber Co. and was looking for help picking colors out for something. So this is one of their bags. I thought that was really fun.
It says community with unity like folded.
Yep. And one of the things I'm planning on making is I've already forgotten the name. I'll ask Amanda to put it in when I tell her what it is. But it is a shawl that uses many different colors. It's a Tiff Nealon pattern, and the name is escaping me. But I have all these colors that I've been kind of saving for a while, and I knew I needed something a little bit darker. And I thought this was the most beautiful brown with red undertones. Yeah. And like by the end of the day, their booth was right near one of the exits, and the sun was kind of streaming in. So you really could see the beautiful brown, the reddish highlights in this. You can see it, right? I mean, it's really pretty. But I think that's going to be great as like a dark pop within all of these.
Yeah. I have to show the. So yay! Yeah, that's a good idea too. Is like if you have something you're looking to color match, like bring it with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, what I did, Jean was home. I'm like, Jean, you know those yarns that are on the table to the, so literally he laid them out and I took a picture, and then I just used that. I didn't remember whether I needed a light or a dark or what, but so I was really happy to have that, and now I can get started on that project. Yeah, and actually, I want to mention also this hat is yarn I got last year at Rhinebeck, and it is Lola Bean's voting rights, fundraiser yarn, basically. So $5 from every skein of leaf voter suppression behind goes to voting rights activities, which is something that I feel really strongly about. So, and look how autumnal and perfect it is, right?
Perfect Kathleen color. It's
perfect Kathleen color, and also this sweater is almost as old as Amanda.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. This is Vogue Knitting 1986 or something. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's here.
So we went around to all the barns to get footage and give you guys like a really good view, like sort of a view of what's there, because it's not just yarn. There is there's the wool auction, so they've got full fleeces that you can buy. So there's like all those are all laid out on the table, and you can go and inspect them, and they're both graded for fineness as well as sort of by colors, so you can sort of get what you're looking for. There's a lot of fiber artists, so a lot of people have specialty mixed fibers, and there's people there that are like blending fibers. You can see them, like as they put their special color blends together. And then there's fiber put up in roving and bats and all sorts of things. Rolags, yes.
Little fingers.
Ready for spinners, so it's a big spinning event as well.
Definitely. Spinning wheels.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the booths, we were stopped and looked at spinning wheels right before we left. They're beautiful, like works of art.
Yep. Yeah. And there's an equipment auction as well. So if
I got footage of that last year, actually. It was so just, the traditional old auctioneer thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How fast they talk. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's yarn. So everything from woolly wools to, superwash merino.
Yep.
They've got there's wool for everybody, and all the accessories you could want. There's on the first, as you start, after you leave the hill and start like going up towards the barns. The first barn has both a lower level and an upper level, and on the upper level was the button dealer that has buttons that have been collected since the 1800s, and just you can find so many. I got some footage of that as well because they were so pretty.
Yeah.
So if you have that sweater that you've made over the year
that you can never find buttons that work for it,
bring it, because you will be able to find a button at that booth.
Cool.
And then let's see. Then what did I get? First, I pre-ordered. So I pre-ordered Katrinkle.
I meant to. I missed it by a couple of hours, I think. Yeah, it's fine.
I got her Rhinebeck 2023 stitch markers, which includes a little acrylic sheep with rose gold flecks. Yeah. Definitely that sheepy is going to be one of my one of my vibe because rose gold. Yay.
Yep. I did get some things at her booth, but I got them as gifts, and I've already given them away.
Oh. So, and the thing is, if you're pre-ordering, then actually, I stepped in and I said, hey, Katie, because she was busy, and she's like, oh my goodness, I have your pre-order. So that was nice.
Yep.
And then I got some of her acrylic buttons. I got 6 with the autumn leaves that are a little bit larger.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't. Her booth was so crowded when I was there. I did pick out a couple things, but I know Seisha, I think, got some of these as well.
Yeah. I got 6 of those, and then I got 12 of the smaller buttons with the little rose gold flecks.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely going to go on.
Oh yeah, you'll have plenty of things that work with that.
Right. So
very fun.
Yeah.
We do stock some of her buttons here.
Yes.
And actually, I wanted to get over there and look at that, but it was. I think I got distracted by the pouring rain, and never did actually check out the
other thing that I got was a Bargello kit.
Oh wow!
So they
Hello,
had
Bargello.
I know, it was so cute. Like her whole booth was super cute. Bargello is like embroidery, but with plastic canvas, and so it's sort of a mix between embroidery and cross stitch. You're not crossing; you're using straight lines to make designs. And they had this little 2022, some of her leftover 2022 holiday ornament kits.
Oh, fun.
Chad really liked them, and it comes with the beads and everything you would need. And I'm like, I've never done that before. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
So, and she said that these are super fast, so yay.
Nice.
Again, I asked her, do you wholesale? She said they used to. They don't right now. But I'm on her mailing list if they do. If this is a kit that you would like, I'll put the information down below, though, because they sell direct.
Cool.
So,
nice.
Very fun little craft between your eternal sweater projects.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Definitely.
Everything was just so bright and fun. So that was the footage you're seeing. If you see a lot of sunshiny days, that's because I've just mashed together both my Saturday and my Sunday. We did come back on Sunday and finish up at New York Sheep and Wool, but it was just too much to get in all in one day. But yeah, so that was on Saturday. We left New York Sheep and Wool and had a little bit of time before we went to our last event. During that time, we went to a little wine and beer, like local beer bottle store. That Chad was in the middle of for the last hour, or for the last 45 minutes while we were at New York Sheep and Wool. He was watching soccer
on his phone.
On his phone, because he's a huge Manchester United fan, and they were playing. So I was like, why don't we just go somewhere and you can finish up the game? And we walk in, and guess what was on? The Alabama football game. So then we had to stay to the end of the Alabama football game.
And by this time, I was having a nice ride home with Caro. We were just chatting and everything. And when we get in the car and talk, going home, we were fine because literally, it's almost like going downhill.
Yeah,
we're just
skating
kind of straight south. Well, like the first 100. Well, I don't know, 80 something miles, you're just on the New York Thruway.
Yeah.
Like once you get on the New York Thruway, and actually, one thing, when Jen goes, we leave Jen's house at 7 in the morning. Like if she's going for the day, we leave at 7 in the morning. If you're not there, you miss the bus, basically. and she's like, we're leaving the fairgrounds at 3.
Yeah.
If you leave the fairgrounds at 3, you're fine. If you leave the fairgrounds at 3:30 or 4, you're probably going to sit in traffic for an hour.
Yes. Yeah.
By the time we, finished up, made our last purchases at like 5:05 when, that people were technically closed, but they were happy to do those last sales. Got out to the car, got on our way. It was 5:30. We didn't wait at all.
Perfect.
We did not wait. Did you wait leaving the fairgrounds at all?
No,
yeah.
We left a little bit earlier, and just stayed at the bar until the end of the Alabama game, which was an Alabama-Tennessee game. Alabama won, but they were losing until like the 44th minute of the game.
Oh wow!
So we couldn't leave. Anyway, and then Seisha had mentioned to me earlier, like about a week and a half before, about a Woolen Affair, which was a get-together of yarn friends that Brooklyn General put on. And
it looked like so much fun.
And one of Seisha's patterns was featured at that event. So it was definitely...
Oh, nice. Which pattern was it?
I don't know.
Was it a hat or what was it?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay,
downloaded them yet.
Okay,
I have the codes. I haven't downloaded them yet. But it was...
Oh, maybe it was a neutrino one? Probably.
Yes, it was a neutrino one.
Yeah.
Yes, because Neutrino was there. And yes, it was one of her patterns.
She's done a couple of things with them. Yeah,
that's all. Like that below as well. But it was definitely a different event than any of the others. The focus was not on vending and purchasing and anything. It was really hanging out with yarn friends.
Talk about FOMO.
I know.
So sad. I was like, sorry. Oh, it's okay. You know, hopefully they do it again next year.
Yeah. It was definitely a smaller event. And
Kim also was at that.
Yes,
yeah, with her friends.
Kim and Jonna. Kim and Jonna was there.
Yeah, Kim and Jonna. Yep.
Kim from Yarnia was there.
Along with Seisha.
Bold Lips and Cozy Knits. Were there. Seisha was there. Let's see.
Amy from La Bien Aimée. She was one of the co-sponsors.
Yes, and she did have a booth and was and had some of her team were vending there. They had a little pop-up food stand that had lobster rolls and oysters.
I heard the food was really good.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Seisha and Kim were talking with her here yesterday.
Yeah, so that was definitely a very relaxing night. Just chat with your friends, sit, knit, and enjoy some time either inside with live music or outside by the fire pit.
Yeah, so nice.
It was a great way to end Saturday. Actually, I asked Chad what would be his non-knitter companion rankings of events. So number 1 was a Woolen Affair because of the low-key vibe, great company, and amazing location. Number 2,
it looked beautiful. Yeah,
loved New York Sheep and Wool.
Yay!
Because heroes and pierogi and
lots of food choices.
And really good coffee. And a lot of things, a lot of different things to see, and it's just fun to walk around.
Yeah. And he definitely got to experience the whole hill thing with people coming over, and it's just so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Cake-a-palooza was next on his list, just because again, the great vibe. The vibe,
yeah.
There's not food or drinks, so the companion ranking. And then he joined me for Woolen Folk too, which he had. He had a drink and we had a fine time, but it was the last on the list of the companion rankings. So. Yeah, if you have a non-knitting companion and you're come with me to one event, that gives you a little bit of a frame.
There you go. Exactly.
What's going to be most interesting to a non-knitter.
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
So, let's see. Is there anything else? I think that exhausts the weekend.
And we thought, I think maybe this would be 30 to 45 minutes. Clearly.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. Well, yeah, we're covering so many things. So we hope you enjoyed it. Gave you a little feeling of being there if you weren't able to be there.
Yep. Definitely tried to get as much as I could for you guys to enjoy. Really hope you enjoyed coming along with us to New York Sheep and Wool, the whole weekend of it.
Yep. And we are planning on being there next year.
Yep.
We've already talked about it. So if you're making plans too, let us know. We're happy to answer. If there are questions that you have that are not answered by what we talked about, shoot us an email.
Ask them in the comments.
Or ask them in the comments, even better. Yes, I love that, because then, multiple people have the benefit of the answers.
And you saw Kathleen got yarn she's going to be knitting with. I got yarn I'm going to be knitting with. If you'd like to see our projects, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
That's right.
And watch our videos as they come up.
We show you what we're working on.
Every 2 weeks.
That's right. And actually, this month, it's been every week.
It's been every week.
With these couple of special episodes. But
we have Vlogmas coming up too.
We're getting ready for Vlogmas.
So
we're easing into it. Right?
It will soon be a very frequent. You'll see us a lot.
Yeah. All right. So thanks so much for watching.
Take care.
Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Perfect. Hello, Teddy. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Where did you go today? Do you remember where you went?
Are we taking a picture?
Yeah. Do you like that?
Yeah. Both
Yeah.
together?
Together.
I want to see you.
You want to what?
Hello, everybody. Hey, got to see you. Hello, everybody. Hey, got to see you. Hello, everybody.
So glad to see you. Hello, everybody. We're so glad to see you. Woo!